military were never in charge of the situation here.
The killings in Nigeria will never end.
Hello and welcome to this channel. This is Barry Cosmos Unplugged. We unplug everything and we bring you all the details. Today I want to take you to Benue State. Now, as somebody who has been following this story, I've critically taken a look at this whole madness of the pilot ranching system in Benue State, which the federal government is proposing. I want to take a look at this thing holistically, what the Benue people are saying and what is the reality on ground. Now let's take a look at this. In 2017, the Benue State brought in anti-grazing law which prohibited every Fulani header from moving around with cattle, and then they can adopt ranching, which they kicked against and fought tooth and nail. And this escalated the Fulani attacks on the Benue State people. And now the federal government is trying to do that same ranching which they have been resisting and fighting. Now, that is not the major problem. Now, let's take a look at go way back. For a long time, Benue people and the Fulani people have been living peacefully. Though we had occasional clashes here and there. But right now, it took a political undertone, and I'm going to prove this point to you. Now, let's take a look at this. After the Ruga system was introduced by the Buhari administration, which Nigerians generally kicked against and rejected, it died. Now, there are over 500,000 IDPs in Benue State. Benue State is not even at war, and we have over 500,000 indigenous people who have been displaced from their ancestral land by the same insurgents. And if you take a look at this, the federal government have done very little to stop the Fulani headers. This is what the Benue State people are saying. Now, if you are trying to bring in a pilot program for taking people's ancestral home and they're living in IDP camps, how would you take the people who would want you to take their land and use it for ranching? Ranching, number one, is a private business. Now, the federal government is proposing to build ranches for people who have been killing, destroying and maiming people in Benue State. Now, these same persons that their homes have been destroyed, the government is not talking about rebuilding their homes, rebuilding their villages, rebuilding their markets, bringing back their schools for them to go back to their home. The government is talking about building ranches. So the Benue people are saying this is rewarding violence, the people who have been killing. Now, why am I saying the people who have been killing? This is not about header anything. This is not about header and the farmers' clashes like the government trying to portray. This is an agenda to grab land through violence, and the government seems to be rewarding them. This is what the Benue people are saying. But the fact, when you take a look at all this, now, the Benue people have not gone to Fulani land to go and take their land by force to do farming. So what we're saying, if the farmers decide to go to Fulani land in Sokoto and other places and start killing the people, and then they go to IDP camps, will Benue State people be given farmlands to farm by the government and ask those people to remain in IDP camp? Now that's the question I want you to answer. I'll ask again. If the reverse is the case, probably the farmers in Benue State are going on to Fulani enclaves like Sokoto State and the rest of them, Maiduguri and all those places, and then they start killing people, destroying their homes in the night when they are sleeping, come with guns and blazing and burn up their houses, and they run away for their dear life into IDP camp. Over 500,000 people. Will the government build or carry farm settlements and build for these same Benue people to go and live in Sokoto State, be protected by the government? Now, that's a question I want the federal government to answer. So everybody listening to me or watching this video right now, it's a very simple thing. Why would you want to reward the people who came to Benue State and killed these people, send them away from their ancestral home, only for you to go and take that same land for which these killers have been trying to do, to take the land from them and build ranches for them and leave the same people in IDP camps? Who will accept that? Now, is there any sincerity in this whole thing? If Benue State is going to be a pilot project of the ranching, well, the government is trying to tell us they want to solve a problem. But you don't solve a problem without solving the people who own the land. These people are still in IDP camps. These people are still being killed. These people are still being maimed. What has the government done? Has the schools been rebuilt? Have their homes been rebuilt? Have jobs been given to them? They're still living in IDP camps. No home to return to. That same land for which they fled is now going to be used as ranching, which is a pilot project the government is trying to let the Benue people know. And that is what the Benue people are saying, hell no. Well, recently, the governor of Benue State made it, though he was speaking his native dialect of Tiv language, but he was saying it is not going to be in his own time that ranching will work. So if the Benue State has said that, is he going against the might of the federal government, or is the government now neglecting the worries of the Benue people, only trying to settle the Fulani people who have been causing mayhem in headers? Now, this is not about headers. These are militias. These are gun-carrying killers, moving from house to house, killing and destroying people, only for the government to want to reward them with land for them to grow. Now, that is not all. If you now take a look at that same land, after a while, the Fulani people will now start expanding the settlement. And when they decide to start expanding the settlement, what will happen? Another war will break. Will the government now say, okay, since they want more land, we want to give them more land and increase the ranching space? Now, this is what happens. And this has been a modus operandi of most of these headers. That's what they do. They come in, they settle, maybe they are 20, before you know it, they are 30, their wives keep giving birth, their daughters keep marrying, and that is how it keeps going and going. The sons get married, the population will increase. When the population explodes, what do you think will happen? The war will come back all over again. And before you know, you now have Fulani people in Benue State who are now Abo originals, born, bred, and raised in Benue State, who will become indigenous of the place. And this is where the biggest problem will come from. Has the government thought about this in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years? What will become of these ranches they want to create for them? Now, over here in the southeast or even in the west, if you want to do a business, you go and buy land. That doesn't give you control over the land. The people still have the laws. Now you come to Benue State who have anti-grazing law, and you don't want to obey the law. The government is not creating a law because these people have been violent. Is that not rewarding violence? That is what the Benue people are saying. But at the end of the day, I may be wrong. You can tell me exactly what the right approach is supposed to be. I know for a fact that you can't come to my house, chase me away from my house, and I'm sitting in a place where I ran to. I have not gone back to my house. I want to use my land to settle the person that came to chase me away from my house. Never. That's not going to happen. Nobody wants to have that. Now, if the government is sincere in settling this, you first settle the Abo originals. Let them go back to their home. Give them a place they can call their home. Benue people are farmers. The land on which you were farming, you took away. The land on which you are farming, you gave it to another person in the name of ranching. How does it work? How does it work? So at the end of the day, the issue of Ruga that was rejected is being repackaged in the form of ranching. And this is not like the private individuals are coming to buy land or lease the land to do their business. The government itself is making it work in the name of trying to settle farmer-header clashes. Now, the point is that what are you doing for the farmers who have lost their farmlands, who are no longer living in their lands, who are now strangers in their own father's house? The government needs to answer the Benue people, and this is the message. So I want to get your take on this one. Is the government really rewarding violent people? Or the government trying to settle a problem with another problem? Or the government is going to create more problem? Is the government neglecting the people that have been destroyed, sent away from their ancestral land, all in the name of trying to settle farmer-header clashes by taking their ancestral home and leaving them in IDP camp? I want to get your take on this one. Just remember, like, follow, and share this video. We want this thing to be well known. Let the entire world see what the Nigerian government is doing to the Benue people. They have been killed, destroyed, sent away from their homes, living in IDP camps. Now you want to use the same land to do a pilot system for ranching. And this is what the Benue people are saying no to. So, what do you make of this video? Let me see your comments. Let me hear what you got to say. Do you agree with me or you disagree with me? Well, you have your say on this channel. Thank you very much. My name is Barry Cosmos, the Radio Marshal, and this is what we call it today. Let's wait for another video.
The killings in Nigeria will never end.
Tinubu must go. Oga Tinubu must go.